Hi BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my October 2020 wrap-up and stats. Yay! I love doing these are so much fun. So, as I like to do in these videos, I go through all of my stats and then I am going to share with you my top 5 books of the month. So, I had looked at changing this around a little bit this month, but I might hold off till November to doing that. What I was thinking about changing up was I'm still going to give you guys like my top 5. But what I thought about doing was starting like at my lowest rated and not necessarily putting them in any kind of order, but sharing with you guys like all the 3 stars and all the 3.5 stars and just give a very quick, not talking about them, but just being like, I read 4 4-star books this month and here they are. These are the 4 that and kind of going through them really quickly. So let me know if that's something you guys would like to see all of the books. Like, even though I talk about all of them in my weekly reviews or my weekly reads videos, just to kind of give an overall, this is what I read this month. So do let me know. And yeah, so that's that. So, but for this month, we're just going to do pretty much what I've been doing for the last little while. So in October, guys, I read 30 books. 30 books. I was shocked. I was trying last night, I am filming this on Sunday, on the 1st of November, that last night I was trying to finish The Duke and I by Julia Quinn, so I could count it as my 31st book for the month because there were 31 days in October, but it didn't happen. That's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's still probably one of the best reading months I've had this year, so I'm super, super pleased with that. But here's where it was kind of a kick. I'm 39 books ahead of schedule. I have currently read 239 out of the 240 books that I pledged, in a way, in the Goodreads challenge. So I have 1 book left to finish off, and I will finish it today on the 1st, which is The Duke and I. So, it's one thing, okay, fine, I didn't hit 31 books in October, but the fact I didn't hit my challenge goal in October was a little bit of a, womp, womp, womp. But that's okay. That's okay. So I'm at 99. Goodreads says I'm at 100% of my goal, but I'm at 99% of my goal. So I'll definitely surpass it. I'm not changing it. I did that in years past. I'm not going to do that this year. I'm just going to kind of leave it where it is and see where we end up at the end of December. So as for my star ratings, I read 1 2-star book. I read 3 5-star. No, wait, sorry. I wrote that down wrong. I read 5 3-star books, 6 3.5-star books, 13 4-star books, 3 4.5-star books, and 2 5-star books. So that ended me out at, my average star rating for the month was 3.78 stars. So just under 4 stars. So I typically don't do that. That's something new. I've seen Karen over at Rather Be Reading do it, and I really like it. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of fun just to see overall snapshot of how much I like the books that I read this month. And anything above a 3.5 I think is pretty good. So I will consider that one a win. In terms of genres of what I read 7 contemporary romance, 4 cozy mysteries, 4 romantic suspense, 3 historical fiction, 3 thrillers, 2 chick lit, 2 historical romance novels, 2, I should really change this. It's 1 graphic novel and 1 comic bind-up idea, 1 fantasy, 1 YA contemporary, and a classic. So out of all of those books that I read this month, I do like to keep track of this statistic, which are how many category romance books that I actually read. And I read 2 Harlequin historicals, 2 Harlequin intrigue, and 1 Harlequin special edition. And those 5 books constituted about 16% of the books that I read in the entire month. So 16% were category romance. I do like to have like that as being a higher number, mainly because between these 2 bookshelves, this one and the one over here, along with everything that I have on the Harlequin app, like to read off the Harlequin app, along with everything else that I own, more than half of the books that I have, either physically or digitally, are category romance. So to read off my shelves, I need to read more of those. And that's actually going to be one of my goals for 2021. So I'll get into that in a video in a month or so. So yeah, I read 27 books that were geared towards an adult audience and 3 of them geared towards a YA audience. I read 1 book published before the 1920s, 1 book published in the 2000s, 18 books published between 2010 and 2019, and 10 books published this year in 2020. 17 of the books that I read, I listened to on audio. 7 of them were ebooks. 2 of them were trade paperbacks. 2 of them were mass market paperbacks. And one was a graphic novel, and again, another one was a comic bind-up. 28 of the novels that I read were full-length novels. 1 was a graphic novel, and again, 1 was one of those bind-ups, those comic bind-ups. 17 of the books that I read were part of a series, and 13 of them were standalone books. That's not too bad. Of those 17 that were part of a series, 9 of them were part of ongoing series, and 8 of them were new series that I started. Oops. Read a grand total, you guys, wow, 9,486 pages, working out to about 306 pages a day. Not too shabby at all. So this is something new that I'm going to share with you, and I saw Shannon over at Shannon Riddler do this. So thank you, Shannon, for unintentionally giving me the suggestion, subconsciously giving me the suggestion. I see her do this in her wrap-up and stats, and I really think it's fun. And she talks about the longest and shortest books on her TBR are like that she read this month, along with the highest and lowest rated books. So for the highest rated book on Goodreads, so this is going by Goodreads standards, the highest rated book that I read was A Sheriff's Star by McKenna Lee. Goodreads has this at 4.63 stars, and I gave it 4.5 stars. So clearly, Goodreads and I are, in the same boat in thinking wise. And this surprised me, you guys. This legitimately surprised me. The lowest rated book on my that I read this month was The Witches, Salem 1692 by Stacy Schiff. I'm actually surprised it was the lowest rated book. And it was 3.22 stars on Goodreads. Still not a horrible rating, though. I mean, bit below average, but still. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I actually quite liked it, but clearly not a lot of other people did. The longest book that I read this month, this also shocked me, because I did read, sorry, I have it sitting right here still. I did actually read The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, which is quite thick, and, I thought for sure this would be the longest book, but no. Actually, guys, this was the 3rd longest book that I read this month. The 3rd longest. The longest book that I read was The Witches of New York by Amy McKay. And when I listen to a book on audio, I always used the Kindle page count, and the Kindle edition came in at 529 pages. So it was, the longest book that I read. The shortest book that I read was the not graphic novel, but the comic bind-up, which was Giant Days Volume 6 by John Allison. So that was my shortest book. For challenges and events, I, of course, co-hosted the Audible Escape to the End challenge with Lizzie over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books, Nicole at Who Picked This Book, and Izzy at Happy For Now. And I think I finished 8 books that were part of Audible Escape, so not too shabby at all. I gave it the old college try to try and read as many of those as I can, and I may have over-picked a bunch of books, but that's okay. I had a lot of choice, and yeah, I'm going to very much miss the Audible Escape package from Audible. But the other challenges, of course, I did the Triple RC challenge, which is the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads, that every month they put out a challenge of 10 prompts, and you read a book per prompt, and I have now finished that challenge for 4 years and 10 months. So if I complete the challenge in November and December, I will be 5 years doing that challenge every single month and not missing a single month, and completing it every single month, which is super exciting. And the other challenge that I'm participating in right now is the Fall Into Reading Challenge, hosted by Tia, Rainey, Angie, and Kelly. Links to them all in the description box below as well. And I have now read 16 out of the 24 books for that challenge, so the final 8 will be read now in November, which is always exciting. And now into my top 5 books of the month. So, coming in, as I always like to say, from my least most favorite to my most favorite. My least most favorite was The 12 Dogs of Christmas by Lizzie Shane. I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars. This is a sweet and cute and adorable contemporary romance, Christmas contemporary romance. This reads very much like a Hallmark kind of a movie. It's about a woman who runs a shelter, and the shelter's being closed down because most of their funding is from the town, and the town just doesn't have the budget anymore. And the guy who's responsible for the budget feels guilty, so he helps her find all these dogs' homes before Christmas. And of course, there's a romance between the two of them. Absolutely delightful, super, super cute. The cover I'm showing you is actually the UK cover because I actually think it's cuter than the North American cover. But regardless, check out this book. If you want a cute, sweet, contemporary Christmas book, you can't go wrong with this one. The next one, Call Me Maybe by Cara Barstone. This one I also gave 4.5 stars to. This is an Audible exclusive, and there is no ebook available for this one. You can only listen to this one on audio. If you get an Audible credit every month, you will be able to access this one because it's part of the Audible Plus catalog. Delightful. Absolutely delightful. This was the cutest story. And what I think just made it that much better, it's done by 2 different narrators, like a male and a female. And it's the story of a girl by the name of Vera who is starting up a website, and she has these major issues with the website, and she's running it through a company very similar to Squarespace. So she ends up calling tech support, and the story starts out with the 2 of them, her and the guy in tech support, on the phone with each other for 5 or 8 hours or something like that. And then the entire story is told through text messages and phone calls and voicemails and POVs from each of the main 2 characters. But what's so great about this is that you get all kinds of great background noise, and you really feel like you're immersed in this story. Like, it feels like it's like a full cast recording kind of an idea. Like, there's a scene where she's sitting in her car and you can hear the other cars whizzing past on the road. You can hear Cal, who's the tech support guy, his cat in the background crying for dinner. You know, when they get a text message, it dings. You hear the ding on their phone or them typing into their keyboard. Absolutely fantastic. Please go ahead and do yourself a favor and read it. It's also a clean story, which I really, really liked. My only qualm about this one and why it got 4.5 stars is that it needed to be longer. I wish it was a full-length novel because it would have been great. And I personally also, I don't know whether they're going to put this one as an ebook eventually, but I would recommend that you listen to it on audio. Even if an ebook edition is ever available, it just will not feel the same. This one needs to be listened to on audio. The next one that is on the list is A Sheriff's Star by McKenna Lee. This one I also gave 4.5 stars to. This was so cute. It's about a woman by the name of Tess and her little daughter named Hannah. And little Hannah has Down syndrome. And they are moving to this small town in Texas for a few months so Tess can take a job before they head off to Houston so Hannah can have open heart surgery. And of course, while they end up in this small town, the mom, Tess, falls for the local sheriff named Anson, and this is a delight. This story was so, so cute. Again, the reason this one got 4.5 instead of 5 stars was because, contrary to the cover, it's not really a Christmas book. There's a little bit of the story that takes, like at the end of the story, that takes place at Christmas time, but I was really kind of hoping for more of an overall Christmas feel to this one, and it didn't have it. But regardless, it was still absolutely fantastic. And Hannah is the star of the show in this book as far as I'm concerned. She rules the page. Every scene that she's in, she just takes center stage. She's a delightful character. Usually I'm touching, hit and miss with kids in books, especially romance novels, but she steals the show, and it's an absolute delight, and I highly recommend it. Next up on the list, Kathy's Christmas Kitchen by Tilly Tennant. This one was one of the 5-star reads. This book was just delightful. This is the story about Kathy, who has recently lost her mom. She was her mother's primary caregiver for about the last 4 years, and she's kind of doesn't know what to do with her life now. She has no friends left anymore because they all pretty much shuffled off when she couldn't go out with them anymore, and she needed to be at home with her mom all the time. And she had a fiance. He left for the same reason. She couldn't give him the attention he thought he deserved. And she ends up joining this little church group for charity, and ends up meeting these delightful people, these older ladies named Doris and Iris, and she starts a kind of a cookery club, as they call it. It sounds like a cooking class of some kind, and she's teaching them all how to make cakes, and it's just, there is a romance in this story, but the story so much more focuses on Kathy and how she's learning to cope without her mom and without being that primary caregiver anymore. And it was just sweet and delightful, and I loved it. And I really encourage you guys to read it. If you have not read Tilly Tennant yet, please do yourselves a favor and pick her books up, because she is fantastic, especially with these Christmas books. And my favorite book of the month, you guys, this one, it actually surprised me. I knew I was going to like it. I didn't know I was going to love it. Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Evan Hicks, I think is the illustrator. This one I also gave 5-star. This was a graphic novel, and it's about these two characters who are just about to go into college. It's their last October working at this pumpkin patch that's, I think, is open for a month or two, like September and October. And it's the very last night. It takes place on Halloween night, but it's not Halloween. It's very much fall. So for those people who don't necessarily love Halloween, this is definitely more of a fall vibe than a spooky vibe. And he's been in love with this girl who works in the fudge station at this like big Halloween fair or, you know, pumpkin patch place. And so his best friend, this other girl, the two of them decide to find her on this last night that they're going to be there. And so he can tell her how much he likes her and maybe ask her out. And the story goes from there. And so two of them spending the entire night going all over this fair to all the different places. And it was so atmospheric and so cute and so sweet. I absolutely loved it. I really, really loved it. And if you have not read it yet, you need to. It came out last year, and I saw a lot of people all over Instagram this month reading this one. This is definitely one that I could see myself rereading every October because it was just so perfect for the season, and I absolutely encourage you guys to read it. So that is all that I have for this video today. I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what was your favorite book that you read in the month of October, and how did you guys do with your own TBRs? How many books did you read in October? I'm interested in knowing that too. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.